Abraham could have been known as a nomad, a scavenger, a liar, a parasite, an adulterer, a has-been, a bitter old man, mistake after mistake after mistake. But his story didn't end there. Not being weak in faith. He did not consider his own body. He's 99 years old. He's almost 100 years old. He didn't give glory to his age. It says he didn't consider his own body already dead since he was about 100 years old, and the deadness of Sarah's womb. He didn't respect the limitations of his age. He paid no respect to the limitations of his wife's age. He paid no respect to the limitations of their physical capacity, but instead he did not waver at the promise of God through unbelief, but grew in faith, giving glory to God. The New American Standard Bible says he grew in faith, giving glory to God. Woo! How did he give glory to God? I'm showing you. It says in verse 20 here, yet with respect to the promise of God. In other words, he refused to respect the limitations of his age. I want you to refuse to respect the limitations of your age. You could still have a dream. You could still have a business. You could still adopt a child. You can still find a way. You can still do something great with your life, no matter what's going on. Whether we're on lockdown, whether we're locked up, whether we're unlocked, whether we're set free, you can experience more and dream big dreams if you will stop respecting the limitations of your DNA, the limitations of your past, the limitations of your pain, the limitations of your mistakes, the limitations of your failures, but instead respect the promise of God. How did he respect the promise of God? He did not waver in unbelief, but he grew strong in faith, giving glory to God. He gave glory to God when he didn't have a child, so that he would be ready to give glory to God when he had the child. He was fully persuaded, fully assured that what God had promised, God was able also to perform. You see, where there's a promise, there will be a performance. Not your performance, God's performance. Where God gives a promise, God will give a performance. Where God gives a promise, God will give a performance. It may happen when you're 99. It may happen when you think it's over. It may happen when your supposed limitations kick in. God's performance is going to kick in. What God promises, God will perform. Say that out loud. Say, what God promises, God will perform. Wow. What God promises, God will perform. Notice how he gave God glory, because life is all about, at the end of the day, our lives are meant to give God glory. It sounds religious if we don't read these verses. It's very powerful if we understand, if we'll pause to understand how to give God glory. Notice what it says. He didn't respect his limitations. He respected the promises of God. Number one, the way to give God glory is respect. Stop respecting your limitations and start respecting the promise of God.